80 kilometers to go, and Tadej Pogacar attacked. A full gas solo bid across the white gravel of Tuscany that destroyed the entire peloton. The gap hit 1 minute, then 2 minutes, then nearly 3 minutes. Vingegaard, Van Aert, Van der Poel. Not one could organize a response. The question is not how Pogacar survived 80 kilometers alone. It is why nobody behind him even tried. Hovers at the front, arms low, eyes locked ahead. The gradient tips above 7%, loose, chalky, unpredictable. In that instant, his right hand drops to the bars, the chain snaps taut on a 53 by 15 gear, and the cadence leaps. The onboard overlay spikes, 100 revolutions per minute, legs carving perfect circles, every pedal stroke biting into the dirt. The bike stays planted, rear wheel tracking straight despite the shifting stones. Most riders would seek grip in a smaller gear, spinning to keep traction. Pogacar chooses the opposite. Big ring, heavy torque, trusting the surface to hold. The power surges above 1,300 watts for a handful of seconds. His torso stays low, elbows tucked, hips rising just enough to drive the cranks through the dead zone. The camera catches the chainring flashing in the sun, each link straining against the cassette as the gradient bites back. Behind, wheels slip, bodies rock, but no team reacts. The peloton, strung out and stretched thin, hesitates. In those few seconds, the gap is born, not from a single violent surge, but from a perfect marriage of force and finesse. The gravel, the gradient, the gear, and the legs all in sync. On this surface, at this cadence, the move is not just possible, it is unstoppable. A cloud of pale dust hangs over Monte Sante Marie. Pogacar is already a shrinking figure on the horizon, his cadence unbroken, the white gravel swallowing the sound of his wheels. Behind him, the peloton stretches across the road, every rider upright, bodies tense, hands hovering over shifters. For a moment, no one moves. The broadcast audio drops to a hush. Even the commentators pause, as if waiting for someone to blink first. Then the caption flashes. No team reacts. The main group is frozen, wheels spinning but directionless. Some glance over shoulders, searching for signals, for orders, for the first sign of a chase. But the only movement is the slow drift of dust settling over helmets and jerseys. The camera pulls wide, capturing the tableau, a lead rider vanishing into the Tuscan hills, a mass of the world's strongest cyclists waiting, watching, hesitating. A single commentator breaks the silence, voice edged with disbelief. The peloton looks frozen. The gap, invisible at first, begins to widen with every pedal stroke up the road. This is not a standard attack, the kind that triggers a chain reaction of countermoves and alliances. Instead, it is as if the laws of racing have been suspended. The bunch, so often a force of nature, now appears powerless, caught between the shock of the move and the weight of expectation. The moment lingers, unresolved, as the dust settles and the logic of the race hangs suspended in the Tuscan air. The first time gap flashes, 23 seconds. Pogacar's silhouette shrinks on the horizon, already committed, while the peloton still fans across the road, wheels spinning, faces blank. The white gravel stretches behind him, every kilometer marked not just by distance, but by a growing sense of inevitability. At 70 kilometers to go, the deficit grows to 1 minute and 2 seconds. The broadcast overlay, stark and clinical, delivers the verdict in real time. Riders glance at their computers, then at each other. Nobody moves. The group behind, packed with champions and seasoned domestiques, finds itself in unfamiliar territory, chasing a ghost who refuses to slow down. By the 60-kilometer marker, the gap has widened to 1 minute, 55 seconds. The peloton's collective rhythm falters. A few attempt to organize, calling for rotation, but the effort is ragged, short-lived. Each new split appears on screen, a quiet announcement that the race is slipping away. When the timer blinks 2 minutes 58 seconds at the finish, the arithmetic is undeniable. Pogacar has crossed into another category. The peloton left to calculate what went wrong. Every number, every time check, is a reminder. This was not just a single attack, but the slow, public unraveling of the group's authority. The clock does not lie. With each passing second, the sense of control drains from the bunch, replaced by resignation and awe. Jonas Vingegaard's face is streaked with dust, jaw clenched as he hovers behind his own teammate's wheel. He glances at the radio clipped to his jersey, waiting for a command that never comes. The team car's voice crackles through static, saying, "Hold position, wait for the sector." In that pause, his chance slips away. Vingegaard tries to move up, boxed in by riders who are supposed to be his shield, but become a roadblock. The hesitation is not just tactical, it is personal, a moment where instinct and orders collide. Mathieu van der Poel swings wide, searching for traction as the gravel shifts beneath him. He is caught between two minds, chase now or gamble on the group. Later, he admits that he hesitated and thought someone else would close it. His hands tighten on the bars, a flash of frustration as he glances back, measuring the risk of going alone. The hesitation costs time and momentum. Wout van Aert's rear wheel snaps sideways on a patch of loose stones. For a split second, he is fighting just to stay upright. The broadcast picks up his muttered curse, then silence as he steadies himself. He looks up, and the lead is gone. Pogacar already out of sight. Van Aert coasts, waiting for Van der Poel to bridge. The seconds bleed away, the energy in his legs wasted on uncertainty instead of pursuit. Each rider's mistake is small, a missed rotation, a moment's doubt, a slip on gravel. But together, they form a chain reaction of indecision. The strongest rivals in the race are paralyzed not by fatigue, but by the weight of expectation and the shock of Pogacar's move. The radio chatter is filled with questions, not answers. The peloton's collapse is not just a failure of numbers, but the sum of individual missteps, each one magnified by the relentless pace up the road. Over the next 80 kilometers, he sustains an average of 340 watts, numbers usually reserved for short time trials, not for a solo push over rolling gravel and tarmac. His body holds a steady-state rhythm, oxygen uptake and lactate production balanced at the threshold, turning every calorie into forward motion. On the white roads, that efficiency is more than a number. It's a survival trait. The metabolic cost of surging and slowing on loose gravel punishes the chasers, but Pogacar avoids it entirely. He keeps his effort smooth, minimizing spikes, letting the terrain dictate only minor adjustments in cadence, dropping to 78 revolutions per minute on the roughest sectors, then back to 92 revolutions per minute on smoother stretches. His Colnago is set up for this kind of siege, with gravel-optimized ENVA wheels, 32mm tubeless tires run at lower pressure for grip, and a drivetrain chosen to withstand both dust and torque. The bike's geometry, unchanged from the start, keeps him low and stable as the surface shifts beneath him. Every detail, from frame stiffness to tire compound, even the angle of his brake levers, works in concert with a physiology trained for long, relentless effort. While the peloton behind burns matches with every acceleration and hesitation, Pogacar rides at the edge of his aerobic ceiling, unbroken, the gap growing not through violence, but through unyielding, mechanical precision. The aftermath of Pogacar's ride ripples far beyond the finish line in Siena. Teams gather in post-race meetings, directors replaying the footage, searching for answers. The old playbook of wait, watch, respond late now looks suddenly outdated. Chasing in numbers brought nothing but exhaustion and a growing sense of futility. At Strade Bianche, one man's conviction exposed the limits of collective caution. Across the sport, questions surface. Can any group tactic contain a rider willing to gamble from so far out? The pattern is impossible to ignore. In 2022, Pogacar attacked with 50 kilometers left. In 2024, he doubled the distance. By 2026, rivals brace for fireworks before the halfway mark. Each time, the peloton hesitates, and each time, the gap grows. The lesson is clear: react late, and the race is lost before it begins. For the classics, the days of defensive riding may be numbered. Teams now face a new reality: either find the nerve and organization to match such long-range aggression, or risk watching history repeat itself from behind a cloud of dust. Today, every contender studies the footage, searching for answers where none emerged on the road. In a sport built on strategy, one rider's audacity exposed new limits. The peloton now rides in Pogacar's shadow, measuring themselves against what once looked impossible. The standard has changed, and everyone feels it.